Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and I wanted to talk a minute about Zack Snyder's Justice League. Well guys, this is one contentious story, but we've been getting lots of reports about what went on during the Oscars and the polling that awarded Zack Snyder a couple of awards from fans. Now, in case you didn't know, during this year's Oscars, the Academy attempted to push up viewership by allowing fans to cast some votes on social media. This was for the Oscar cheer moment and the Oscar fan favorite. Now, these are not actually real awards. Nobody in the Academy votes for them. These are fan awards, but they're still pretty cool, and I have to say, getting any recognition from the Academy for any director is a big deal, so I don't want to completely downplay them. But when the polls were finished, Zack Snyder actually walked away with both awards, for Justice League and Army of the Dead. Now, this award was met by skepticism and celebration, depending on which camp you were already in. But now some recent reports have called a lot of it into question, and I'm really unsure what's going on, but I wanted to talk about the reports for a couple of seconds because I think they're important and actually impact a very particular person. Now, before we dive into the reports though, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. Also, the big giveaway. We're going to give away this Oculus Quest 2 at 50,000 subscribers. All you need to do to get in on the giveaway is be a subscriber and leave us a comment. Now, this report comes from The Wrap, and it has been picked up by a lot of other outlets, including Vanity Fair, so it's pretty important to put this in proper context. Now, what The Wrap reported is that the voting system for those polls may have been rigged thanks to bots on Twitter, and these bots obviously supported Zack Snyder's work. Now, they shared some data from a hashtag analysis tracking tool, and they claim that they found, quote, the most active contributor to both polls were autonomous web programs, and that they had cast thousands of fake votes for those particular things. Now, this is not what you would call definitive, and the data itself is not part of the report, so I do have several questions, but it is really concerning. Now, they are also claiming that other indications that the vote was rigged by some release the Snyder Cut and restore the Snyderverse fans, and they point to some very odd jumps in vote numbers during the process. Now, let me be really clear, the Academy is totally standing by the results, but I wouldn't expect them to do any less. Nobody's going to stand out there and say their poll was rigged and actually be embarrassed in a public forum like this. That wouldn't happen no matter what. And the company that ran the poll has had no comment. Obviously, again, not looking to have egg on their face, but it would be great if the people that managed the poll actually spoke up and gave us some details to help us figure out what really went on. Now, there are a ton of problems here. First and foremost, the contentious relationship between fans often leads to a lot of infighting, so let's avoid that. I'm not making claims either way, but it does highlight some of the problems with Twitter polls like this, and quite honestly, fans that are pretty fanatical and how far they will go to support their particular niche in fandom. The saddest part about all of this is the person it affects the most, at least in my mind, and that would be Zack Snyder himself. Unfortunately, going down the road, I think this could impact him in a very negative way. Now, whether it's fair or not, most people outside of the Snyderverse niche had already pretty much come to the conclusion that they felt like the polls were rigged. It did seem odd to me that an HBO movie that so few fans had seen was beating out major cinematic moments like Endgame. It's always possible, and there always was a possibility that the Zack Snyder fans were simply more organized when dealing with this. But when these things happen again, and this obviously won't be the last poll for any of these type of situations, I have the sneaking suspicion that Zack Snyder and his work will be excluded because of this. If I was running a poll and I had to add participants and I worried the poll would be hijacked and I would be publicly embarrassed, I wouldn't include those participants. And this is sad because a lot of Zack's work is really good. His version of the Justice League was head and shoulders better than the Whedon version we got in the theaters. There's no debate about that. And Army of the Dead was pretty good. And if you know me online, you know Watchmen and 300 are some of my favorite movies. So this isn't an attack against Snyder, but it does highlight some behavior that is negative, that doesn't help him as a director, and overall it causes that particular fandom to look bad because some of the worst fans are fulfilling those stereotypes that many people have about that niche. Now, I don't think the Academy is going to retract the awards, but I would like to see the data. Seeing the data would help clarify everything. And being a computer person, that to me would answer the questions I need answered to have a firm opinion. Again, I like Zack's work. This isn't an attack on him, and it isn't an attack on his fandom. But there's obviously something weird going on, and for some major reporting outlets like The Wrap and Vanity Fair to run with it, it feels like to me there's something more to explore. Hopefully we get more information going down the road. But until then, what do you guys think? Do you feel like Zack Snyder fans hijack the polls for the Oscars, putting both of his projects at the top of the list? Or do you think this is all nonsense and some people are just mostly butthurt because their favorite movie didn't win? Sound off in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.